right, I'm back. I hope you guys aren't sick of me yet. And now after you guys have had lunch, I hope I don't put you to sleep either. So anyway, what I wanted to touch on is we have plugins in Digital Factory. And again, Photoshop, CorelDRAW, Illustrator are all tools for the job. I think that everyone should have them. But I don't think you have to go to the toolbox as often as you think. Some of these things I already kind of cheated on because the questions got asked. So there's going to be some things I'll show you that I don't actually have on my list, but I'm going to show them to you anyway. But we're going to start with job color replacement. It doesn't seem like my clicker's working, so we'll just do it this way. Oh, I think I got it. Okay, perfect, got it. Oh no, I got it. Oh. All right, so job color replacement, we just talked about this. I think it's one of the more powerful tools that we have in Digital Factory. It's great for spot colors. It is not great for bitmaps, just because the colors vary so much. So you might change part of it, you might only change a pixel. So that's why it's always good to use solid colors for job color replacement. So since we went through that earlier, did anybody have any questions about job color replacement that I could ask before we move on? Okay. Okay, well, for some reason my screen isn't switching, so I'll switch it manually here. So we have some removal tools. Raise your hand if you get artwork that you have to remove some kind of item from, be it the background or something that's in there. So we have some color removal tools that are pretty fantastic. And I'm going to take you through a few of those. And I'm going to see if I can stop this thing this time. I should have probably tried to do this on lunch, but I had stuff in my face. All right, so seems like I'm not going to be able to do this, so I'm just going to do it manually. So oftentimes you'll get a file that maybe is a square, something like this, but you don't want a square on your shirt. You want it to look a little more natural. So you don't want a big red square on there. So there is a way to get rid of that big red square. Let me get back to the graphic here. So we have a tool that's called Knock Me Color Out. It's a partner to Knock Me Blackout, and Knock Me Blackout is what's running in the black queue. That's why you don't have any black. So I'm going to go ahead and right click here. And I'm going to come down to Production Plugins, and I'm going to go to Knock Me Color Out. Now, I'm not a real big fan of how the nomenclature is on here, so it says underbase. I don't think that's the right way, but it's fine for what it is. The first thing you want to do is pick the source color, the color that you want to remove. So you'll see it instantly as soon as I click on it. So I want to remove this red. So if you look at the bottom, it's already showing me what I'm going to be removing, part of that red. And this slider up here, this underbase slider, as you slide it left or right, it's a tolerance. So the more you slide it to the right, the less that you have. And it's affecting the vibrancy too. So you just have to kind of find the happy medium. So if you want to put that on a green shirt or red shirt or something different like that, blue, it'll look just fine. And it won't look like there's a big box around it. So I'm going to say I'm happy with where I'm at right now. And I'll say okay. And I just easily remove that background. Now, I don't know how many of you are graphic artists? So if you were to do that out of Photoshop or Illustrator, how long would it have taken you to do that? What's that? Half that? Ooh, I got something for you later. All right. Challenge accepted. So, all right. So that's what I get. I actually get a minute to 2 or 3 minutes typically when I ask that question. But, it's something that's really good for you to use. And more than for you, it's really good for any employees that you might have or people who aren't really good graphic artists. This is a real good way for them to get in and be able to manipulate some graphics without having any formal training or really knowing Photoshop or Illustrator very well. So this is one tool that you have in the toolbox. Let's see, Knock Me Blackout. I'm going to show you that one. You see it all the time when you're in the black cues. Maybe I won't show you because it's pretty self-explanatory. It's knocking all the black out. Yes. Oh, are you asking if this is a PNG file? Oh, export it out? Let's see. Ooh, I don't know if you can export it out. So the question is if I can export this out so that a customer can see it. The only thing I could say, the one way I can think that there's a workaround is you can print it as a file and then print it as a PDF. And then that's one way you can get it to the customer and show it to them. That's probably the fastest way to do it. All right, so Knock Me Blackout is very similar to Knock Me Color Out. It works very, very good with black shirts because it just takes out all the black in the shirt. In fact, I am going to show it to you because I have a really good file to show that. Let's add Groot. So right now, you can't see it, but there's some transparency in here already. But I'm going to add more by removing that black. So I'm going to highlight Groot, and I'm going to right click over here on the job. And I'm going to come down to, let me just do this again. Go down to production plugins and go to Knock Me Blackout. And so you can already see that the black has already been knocked out. I mean, it's the only color it's working with, so it knows to already knock that out. I can use my tolerance, my underbase slider, either left or right to get more color back or some of that black back if I wanted to. But I'll leave it pretty close to the default. And what's going to happen is it's going to use the shirt color, the black shirt color as the ink. It's going to save you quite a bit of money. We have an estimated ink savings of about 30% over other reps. So you could take that for what you will. Sometimes it's at a cost of maybe the vibrancy of your graphic, but I mean, even if it's 20%, it's much better. So I'm going to say OK here, and then you'll instantly see when it redraws all of that's knocked out. Now, if I take my substrate, I'm going to double click here to go to my cue. And then I'm going to drop this down. Let's see, or I'm going to go over here to my substrate color. I'm going to make it black and say OK. And then I'm going to see if I can redraw this. I may have to re-import it in. So here we go, page. And let's try to redraw this, generate preview. I think I'm going to have to reload this and just do that again, but it won't take me very long. So let me remove group. Or better yet, I'll just add another one. It'll be faster. All right. So now, oh, it did change it. It changed as soon as I added the other one.
Sorry, Mo, we have a question.
Yes. Can I knock that out and then add holes to it? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Now you can see there's that cost I was talking about. So it looks a little more washed out on the left than on the right. So you can compensate for that by moving that underbase slider more to the left, I believe it was on this one. And you can recover some of that black, but you still have, it'll still knock out some of the black. And then you'll have some ink savings there as well. So it's a really, it's a nice tool, and it's already built in all of your black cues. All right, and then the one other removal tool I love is called Fluid Mask. We've licensed Fluid Mask, and it's a $199 add-on that we've been throwing into the packages. So you likely already have Fluid Mask in your package. And if you want to know if you have it, all you have to do is load a file in. And I have a couple that I want to show you. We'll use Ichiro first. Let's see, let's back out here. That's a big file, so let's get it back here. So if you want to know whether or not you have Fluid Mask, if you right-click on the file, you'll see Edit with Fluid Mask. I'm going to click Edit with Fluid Mask, and Fluid Mask is kind of like a colors by number program. It has three primary colors: red, green, and blue. Red is a delete, green is a keep, and a thick blue line is a line of transition. And it'll be apparent what that does on my next file. So what I want to do is remove the background from each row. I'm going to ask how long you think it would take me, or how long would it take you to remove the background, anybody, from each row out of Photoshop or Illustrator?
Half a second. 2 seconds.
2 seconds? Man, you're good.
Magic wand and you set the colors.
Very good. So I'll show you how quickly I can do it. I don't think I can do it in 2 seconds, but it's pretty fast. So the first thing I want to do is you have two sets of tools here. On the right-hand side are the local tools, which is going to get an area. And then on the left-hand side is the exact tools. So you can draw on an exact area. Once you learn the workflow of Fluid Mask, you'll be able to do some amazing things. Not only can you just take out areas of color just with the click of a button, but you can actually take out a range of colors. Roland used to have a printer that printed gold ink. So what we've done at one time was we removed out of the picture the gold ink, or not the gold ink, but the sun's reflection, and completely removed that because we removed a section of color out of it. And then we remapped that to use the gold ink, and it looked pretty slick. So it's got a lot of power under the hood. So in the background here, it's red, so it means it's going to delete. Now I can move up to my green tool here, and as I color through these zones, it's starting to keep all of that stuff. But because I know that everything that's left over I want to keep, I can go to Image, and I can go to Autofill with Keep, and it'll highlight everything else for me. Now I do see one little problem with this. I don't know if you guys see it, but it's cut off a little bit too much here on each row. So I'm going to go back to my exact tool on Keep, and I'm just going to give it a little bit more, and there we go. We got it back. So now I'll change this. I like to see what's going on in the transparency, so I'll turn this on, and I'll just click the button, and I'm done. So that's quick and easy, and it's pretty much a cheat file. But it does show you the power and the speed that it operates. So I'm going to say File and Save and Apply. If I can find it, there it is. And what it'll do is it's going to knock this background out of each row. And now I have each row, and I can resize it. I can put holes in it. I can manipulate it just like it was any other graphic. It just has a nice alpha layer transparency on it that you can see right through. So that's each row. Now let me add another photo. So how long do you think you could take to remove the background from that? Or 1 second. Do I hear a half a second?
Pretty fast.
So the difficult part with this graphic, I'm going to go ahead and right click, and I'm going to edit this with fluid mask. Like I said before, this isn't even really a good substrate with this black background on here, but we will be able to see it in this. When you have bushes, and you have hair, and you have trees and leaves and stuff, this workflow works really well. So like I told you, I have these exact tools. This blue tool is called the blend tool. So what I'll do is I'll just drag this over the color or over the areas where there's transition. And I'm not being too terribly careful. I'm just drawing over here, la la. I never heard anybody say what time it would take them to do this, other than the 1 second. So I have these areas of transitions colored. Now I can go back to my local tool and start removing stuff. Now there's 3 checkboxes up here, and these are protection boxes. So if I wanted to protect this blend, I would check that. Otherwise, if I color in there, it's going to destroy my work. So I can Control Z to undo. I'll click Protect My Blend, and I can just click in there as much as I want. So I just slide through here. Okay, and then I know that everything left over I want to keep. I can just say File. Oh no, I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to go ahead and grab my Keep tool, and I can drag through here, or I can come over here, go to Image, and autofill this with Keep. All right, so we're going to make the cutout. I'm going to change this over, and then I'm going to say cut this out. And it's done. Now, I want to see the Photoshop people do this. You can see clear through to the background through her hair. And that was very quick.
Photoshop tools, third-party add-ins, just does everything.
Yeah, Photoshop has some really nice tools these days, but you know, this is something that you don't have to go to the toolbox for. You just do it right here. And it's powerful and it's fast. So you can go to File, Save and Apply, and it'll remove that background. If I had a different color, you'd be able to see it through there, but it's going to be black, so everything's going to disappear anyway. Are there any questions I can answer about Fluid Mask or any of the Knock Me Out tools?
Did you now take that picture and do a knockout on it? So
Pardon me?
printed on the shirt, did you knock that out? Black knock that out?
I don't know. I'd have to go through because there looks like there's some artifact or some little glows there that I could go back and take care of. Probably take me about a minute. Yeah, probably a minute to clean that up a bit. But yeah, it would automatically knock out as much of that black as possible. It still might lay down some. Yes.
The baseball one that had the background color.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, whenever you try to knock that color out, it can end up with result of like round edges,
Mm-hmm.
like issues around that image because they're not separate layers. It's like one thing, so you're trying to remove it all together and keep the crispiness of that image. Do you know, like, certainly that doesn't remove that color, that when you then print it out, with just the same crispiness as the image did with the color because
So the question is will the edges be crisp basically after I cut the Ichiro out? And the answer is yes and no. It won't be crisp because I think you know that when you cut stuff out and it's got that sharp edge on it, it doesn't look good in a lot of cases. What we do is that thick blue line that I showed you, the blend, there was a thick blue line around Ichiro as well. And I'm sorry, I didn't show this to you, but he's got whiskers and you can see through the whiskers to the background. So while it's not a very crisp edge, it is a very nice looking edge. So it works really well in that case. And you also have the option to change it so that it is crisper. So if you want it a little sharper, you have that ability. And then if you wanted it to pick up more colors, you can change that as well. If you wanted to change the size of the cursor, all you have to use is the bracket tools, and you can get into those small, hard to reach places. But it is a fantastic tool. And again, it's like a $199 dollar tool that we've been including in our reps recently. So check, see if you have it. If you don't, reach out to me. I'll see what we can do for you. Yes.
Once it's knocked out, you go to DTF, you still have to deal with the power down and the basic white.
Mm-hmm.
Now, will that still hold up? If you can choke the white underneath it too much, that's not gonna make it easier to burn.
I don't know. That's a great question. I'd have to actually print it to see, to be perfectly honest with you. But I suspect that it's going to print just fine, and it'll hold up just fine. I don't think there's too many semi-transparent pixels in there that are going to give you a hard time. But if there are, there's a option in the queue that you can change semi-transparent pixels to opaque. And you can use that tool and it'll absolutely hold up then. Yeah. So I'm going to have to fill some time here because you guys stole some of my material earlier. What's that? Oh, no. You don't want to hear any of my jokes. They're horrible. All right. So let's go to the next thing I have for you. Let me open up PowerPoint here, and we'll see what else we have. Yes? Oh, that's a great question. GIMP. GIMP is a freeware software. It's an open source Photoshop. Is basically what it is. And the improvements they've made in GIMP recently are fantastic. It looks like Photoshop. It acts somewhat like Photoshop, but it's freeware, and it really works well for people who are using our desktop edition of Digital Factory, because oftentimes those people don't have access to Photoshop or CorelDRAW, and so it gives them a tool that they can use to edit photos. Yeah. Yes.
Are you familiar with a program called Pixlr?
No, never heard of it. To Pixlr? A lot of money, first of all, is what it saves you. But again, when you look at the folks that are using the desktop edition, oftentimes they've converted their own 8550 printer or something else. And there are really a lot of home-based businesses that are using that version of the software. So they don't want to go out and pay for a subscription to Adobe, or they don't want, I don't think you can buy it outright anymore. So, this is a good, okay, well, hey, you heard them, get it while it's hot. It might not be there long. Oh, I got another one for you. Supersize. So how many of you guys get that person that sends you the artwork, that 72 DPI that they just pulled off the internet and said, put that on a shirt? Yeah. If you haven't got it yet, you will. I promise you, you're going to get it. So we have tools in there that'll help you resample those graphics. And I think you've heard over the last day or two that it's good to have graphics at 300 DPI. So you can actually resample graphics that may not be great. This tool works very fast, so you can't blink. But I'm going to show it to you here real quick. And we're just going to, like I said, I'm just going to close this down now. Okay, so I'm going to add in this guy, I think. I don't remember where I put him. And I should have put it in a place I knew I could find it later. So bear with me just one more moment, and I think I'm going to have it. Oh, I need to find it. There Here it is here. All right, so I can highlight this picture and it looks okay for what it is. But when I go ahead and put this into supersize, I can right click. I can go down to my plugins, and that's not where it is. Let's see. It's where it's right here. It's standing by itself. So supersize image. So when I click this, it's going to give you a preview, and it's going to say the current resolution is 52 dpi right now. So it's at full size. I want it to be 300 dpi. I can just make it 300 here. And I could go up to a maximum of 708 is what it's telling me. And then the file size here is increased. So if I have nothing there, that's the file size, it's 5.14 megabytes. So when I put in 300 dpi, it goes up to 170. I'll hit OK. And it just is that fast. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit. Yes. Pardon me? Oh, I don't think there's a reason to. It's just saying that you can take it to that max. Yeah, it would be overkill, I think. But I'm gonna move this, so everybody keep your eyes peeled. Because when I move it, the edges are gonna pixelate, but it's gonna instantly clean it up. So I'll let it go, and it just cleaned it up that fast. But you have some sliders here where you can change the edge sharpness, so it'll become a little bit sharper and it's not quite as blurry. You can clean up noise that might be in the graphic because it was a low resolution. This one actually made it out pretty good. And then of course you could change the chroma to get some more vibrancy out of it, but it looks fine. And then all I have to do is say okay, and it's cleaned up and ready to print. It's really good to use on some very pixelated artwork, and it's free. It's just in there. And I don't need the news, so let's close that. And I'm just waiting for my computer to refresh. And right now it's working on cleaning up that image. It takes a little horsepower for that one. And while we're waiting for that, I'm going to jump to this. Oh, and I already did variable data for you too. Wow, okay, now I'm gonna have to dig deep. And I know exactly what I'm gonna show you because someone had a question about this a little bit earlier. So someone had a question about putting outlines on text and in the graphics. There is a way to do it. We do have a plugin, and it's called Design Pro. And let me bring a graphic in for you. Oops, that's not what I wanted. And I can right click here, and then I can go to Digital Factory Design Pro, and that's a full-fledged design program. So it was made more for the industry and the sign industry to be more specific, but it has some pretty good vector and bitmap editing tools. I'm just waiting for it to fire up here. Any questions, by the way, on anything I've showed you up to this point? Yes?
So it's about the knock me out class.
Mm-hmm.
In the queue, in properties, in color layer, I
Mm-hmm.
believe it's that, and you go in, you have the underbases and all things. There's also an option in there with a slider that says
Yes,
Is it the same?
identical.
It's just a different way of doing it?
Yeah, and just like I said, there's like 2 or 3 ways to do any one thing in this program, and that's just one of those. Yeah. All right, so you see my graphic is here. So this is what I have to work with, and I can resize it. I can add text to it. Let's get rid of this. If you have 2 monitors, the Compass program that we have is a interactive and live manual. So if there are any changes to that manual, if there's anything added to it, it'll change for you on the fly. It'll download the latest changes. If there is a document or a YouTube video, you can actually access it in that window too. So you could type in, if you had a question about the queue, you could type in queue, and it'll give you everything it knows about the queue, and then it'll say, okay, you can go read this document, and you can click it, and it'll open up that document for you, and you can learn more about it. It is a fantastic tool, especially if you have 2 monitors. If you don't, I find it very intrusive, so I always shut it down. It always jumps up at the wrong time. So I'm going to go ahead and do some text composition here. And my font is super tiny, so let's make that bigger. So one of the things that's really cool about like the text tool is it has kerning. So oftentimes you'll find script that doesn't really touch each other, and you can't make it touch each other. So what you can do is highlight this, come back over to the text tool, and hit this kerning tool. And what this does is it allows you to move those letters around, and you can move them around individually. So maybe just one letter's not quite touching. I just messed myself up. I'm going to highlight this again. I'm going to go back over, and I'm going to hit this. So I can grab these little knobs down here in the very bottom, and I can move those to wherever I want them. So I can move that out a little bit. And this is still editable text as well. So if I double click this, I can change this. So maybe I just want to be ripe or something like that. The other thing that's kind of cool is superscript and subscript. So if I have H2O, I believe it's been a while since I've done this, but if you do the H2 and you come up here and do superscript, it'll raise that too for you. So there are some really nice tools in there. And it also has a font editor. So if you wanted to edit your own fonts, you can do that in here as well. Oh, and I erased that. Let's go Control Z. And I was asked about outlines and putting outlines on text. This is where you would do it. So I can go over here to transform. I can go to outline. It right now looks horrible. So what I'll do is, first of all, I want to turn off inline because you can do inline as well. I'm just looking for the checkbox with my bad eyes. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So the outline is too big, so I can actually pull that back. And I can change that outline color at any time too, to anything that's on the palette. So you can outline things pretty quick and easy too. And believe it or not, they're actually 2 separate items. By Control Z, I can put it right back on top of each other. It is very editable still. The outline's not going to be editable, but the text is still editable. So see if I can get it back on there. There we go. So if I sweep select this and then just type in. type in water, it'll update that outline. And then if I did something like this, I could right click this. I believe it's copy style. Right click here. I should be able to paste. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Yep, I saw it just as I clicked it. So I can right click here, paste style. Let me try it again, paste style. Oh, didn't want to do it for me. So I can kind of cheat it. This is an instant replay, so it's checking everything that I'm doing here. So I can go over here and click on this water. Well, let's see, play. There we go. There's the outline. I can drag this over here if I want it to match. And I think I missed, so let me zoom in. And it just made a big fat liar out of me. Typically it works, but there could be a reason why it's not working this time. And it's probably my fault that it's not. All right, so you can add shadows as well. And this is one thing, is anyone a hand painter? Anybody ever paint outlines of vehicles? You guys do relief shadows? So what a relief shadow is still a shadow, but it's away from the image or it's away from your main item, just a tad. So if I go over here and I go to transform, I come down to shadow. I'm more of a visual person, so I move things around to get what I want out of it. Let me Control Z because I didn't do that right. Let me go back over here to transform. We'll go to outline. Okay, let's see, we'll try this one more time the right way. We'll go to transform and we will go to shadow. Here we go. And then we have our different shadow styles. We can have a cast shadow. And then when I move this out, you'll see that the shadow is cast. And I'm going to go ahead and change the color of the shadow to yellow. So I can put that shadow wherever I want. And then if I want to make it a relief shadow, I can click on this outline box, and then I can click it and do that relief. And you can change the thickness of the relief as well. So you can see it's standing off of the actual word itself. And while it's not overly powerful, it's a pretty handy tool to have, especially if you're adding text to something and you want to do something really nice. You can also arc the text, and you can cause the text to follow an envelope. So if you draw a line, a wavy line, and you put your cursor there as you type, your type is going to follow that line as well. So you have a lot of different options in just in the text tool itself. Not to mentioning I think it's lunch is getting to me now. I'm ready to take a nap. But I think all you have to do is the welding tool. That's what I was talking about. So the welding tool is very good too. So if we have, let's throw some shapes up here real quick. If you need to weld a couple things together, and if I hit Alt-S, no, that's save. Oh, that was Control-S, I want Alt-S. You can see that this is a vector file and those are the vector lines. All I have to do is just highlight that, hit my weld, boom. I'm a designer, I just made Mickey Mouse. So that's as close as I come to design. I'm not very good at it, as you can see. But I'll hit Alt-S to show the fill. And again, it's just it's a somewhat basic design tool with a bit of power. And I think that if you have a sign background or if you have a Corel background, you'll pick this up very easily. So I'm going to go ahead and send it back to the queue. And it's only going to send what's in that little box. It's not going to send anything that I did on the outside. and I have my job back, and I can print that out with any text or anything else that I added to it.
I have a question.
Yes. The text. So you're asking the question that are you asking if I manipulated the text, would it still work with variable data? It depends. If I welded the text together, it would no longer be text. But as long as it stays in its smart state, yes, I could do that. And it's really cool too, because if you have it on an arc, your next text is going to come out on that same arc. And you can do that arc inline or outline. So you could do it so it's like a big circle. So you could have the top of the text follow the circle that way, or you could put it on the top, it'll follow it that way, or you can put it on the inside. So it's really flexible, those tools. And you can also create envelopes with the transition tool. So you can kind of give it like the old 50 spectrovision things where you had it wide here and it kind of smoothed out and got a little arch here in the middle. You can do that kind of thing too, very easy and very quickly. Any questions about anything that I've covered up to this point or anything else? Okay. Let's see, where are we at? Oh, it did bring Mickey over, okay. Where is that one? Oh, here it is, okay. Somebody also asked me if we can do some kind of etch, some vignette. This isn't exactly what you were talking about as far as creating the shadow on the edge, but there are some really cool tools that you can get in here that will allow you to put distress on your graphics. So let me bring something in for you here. Yeah, boy, you guys took up my good ones. I had some really good ones earlier, and I shouldn't have done them. Should have held out. And I swear I opened that file, but I will try it again, make sure. I've been misclicking all day. There we are. So that file looks that way because it's trying to think, it thinks it's putting it on a black shirt. So it's compensating them for that visually. But if I were to put that on a white shirt, which I really want, or a light garment, we'll open it there. Oh, it's the same background. Somehow I changed that too. There it is. It is there. So I'm going to right click. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to right click here. And I'm going to go to my production plugins. No, actually, let's see where it is. Okay. Oh, let's see. I know that it is here. So you can add distress frames too. And there's some presets for these distress frames. I have personally not found a good reason to use them, but they're here. But it's going to lead me into my next one. So I just thought I'd show it since it was here. I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to open up cues. Or excuse me, not cues, but I'm going to go here to my distress again. Right click. Production plugins was not there, was effects. Now I'm going to go to distress itself. So this gives you the ability to make something look old and worn. And there's some really nice presets in here to help you do that. And you can also change those yourself. Let me back, let's see if I can change the, nope, it's not gonna let me do that. And while some of these don't look great, some of them do. Let me see if I can find the one. Nope, I am not finding it. But we'll get to the original picture and we will take that highlight color and make it white. And we'll go back to and you can get some really cool effects off of the distress. The one file that I typically use for that is an old style robot, and it looks really worn and it looks great. But you can change the amount and you can change the intensity of this so that it doesn't look so cracked and worn out. But it's just to kind of give you an idea of some of the different plugins that you have and some of the things that you can do.
These plugins ship those?
Everything you're seeing here comes with the program, everything. Let's see. I don't have anything for that. Does anyone cut their graphics at all? Do they have a cutter that they take their graphics to? What kind of cutter do you have? Okay. So one of the nice things about Digital Factory is that if you get the cutting module, which is an extra cost, you get true shape nesting. So if you have, let's just say you have a bunch of half moons, for instance, and it's all on a white background, it will actually true shape nest those and try to fit parts within parts. And it's really handy, and you can put cut lines on those as well. So it'll actually go through and it'll cut any one of those. And if you have a Graph Tech, for instance, I don't know if the Rolands have it, but it has a perf cut on it. And you can perf cut so you can just kind of thump them out and they don't fly out all over the place. And that, yeah, exactly. And it creates a tab so you just get it and just peel it right out. And then you can just press them. So it keeps you from having that big square or whatever else is on there. So if you wanted to cut those, you can. Okay, let's see. I am looking for something in particular and I'm not finding it. Ah, okay, here it is. All right, so I showed you the raster tool earlier where you can put holes in it. We also have a secondary raster tool and you may get better results out of it. I like the first one that I showed better because I think you get more control. But I'm gonna add a graphic back over here, like garments. Let's resize Coat Girl. All right, let's go to right click, come down to our rasterization tool. Halftones, let's see, halftones for use for 300 DPI or better is recommended. This image is 157. So what I can do is I can right click on this. I must have a dialog box open somewhere. Oh, wait a minute, that might have been it. All right, we'll try it again. Okay, something is open here. Sorry, I'm just gonna reclose this and reopen it because I don't know where there's something open. So I'm gonna reboot this here. Or not. So have any of you folks used any of the plugins that we have in the software at all? Pardon me?
Played with them, but never really in production.
Okay.
Did that much about it, and other times.
I would imagine that Fluid Mask may come in handy for some of you though. That is a great program and I just found what was open. So let me get this back up for you. Here it comes. All right. Here's something really cool that I want to show you. It's called templates. So let's just say you're doing something for a company and they need some graphics for a pocket, for instance. And all these pockets are maybe like 3x4 or something similar like that. And maybe the graphics are different in different sizes. So you can set up these templates that will allow you to do some really cool stuff. So I'm going to create some template media. I'm just going to run over to one of my queues here. Let's go to light garments. I'm going to double click here. I'm going to go, let's see, not to layout manager. I want media. Where is my media? Oh, I'm sorry. Someone was asking me earlier. They couldn't move their graphics around once they got it into the queue. If you go here to your layout manager, it's probably set for auto nest, so it's going to automatically nest every time you put it in. If you want to stop doing that, you can set it for manual. And if you set it for manual, you can move it wherever you want and put it wherever you want. So that's what you need to do. I knew it was somewhere, I just couldn't find it earlier. Let me get to media setup. I can find my media setup. Okay, there we go. All right, so let me get back to my queue here. My light garments, I'll double click. Oh, interesting. I don't know who set this up, but they didn't set it up properly. So we're going to try a different queue. We'll take our dark garment queue here, double click it. We'll go to media setup. And then what we're going to do, instead of set our media for a role or a fix sheet, we're going to set it up for a template. The cool thing about templates is you can just drop a graphic in there and it'll do what the template, the template will manipulate it to do what you want it to do. So right now I'm going to say this is going to be a 24-inch media. That's good. I don't need any margins. And I'm going to say okay. Oh, it's pulled my old one in there. Okay. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, go to Layout Manager. Use up templates. 24-inch media, where is it? All right, let's go down to template media again. All right. All right, so the way that I set this template up is I made it so it was 5 across and 2 down. When you add a job, each of these templates you can have do certain things. So you can say, regardless of whatever size graphic you put in this template, it's going to either expand, it's going to stay like it is, or I can have it shrink to the size that it fits in there. So if these are all my pockets, and I just want to add a bunch of graphics, for instance, let's go File. Nope, not manage queue. File, import. And we'll just add some random stuff here. And I say OK. I'll get this dialog, and it's going to ask me what I want to do. So I'm going to do this in Express, and it's just going to start adding all of these to the queue. And regardless of whatever size these are, they're just going to fit in there. And I can print it, and they're going to fit on that pocket every time. So if you have different logos, if you have different teams or something like that, and you need to set it up for a template where you always know you're going to fit that one size, you can just create a template and you can just throw the job in there and it'll automatically size it for you. And that's a really nice tool, very nice tool. And you can use this in conjunction with variable data as well. And it works very well that way. Any questions on template media? So I had this whole last half hour set up for questions, and I don't know that I'm going to get very many, because I think I answered most of them, but just, okay, got one.
Can you open up job history so I can see it?
Job history?
Yes.
Job history. I don't know if I've ever opened up job history. Pardon me?
It's in the queue.
Okay.
In other, very bottom.
In the, okay, I know where you're talking about. All right, so we'll look down at the bottom. Job history. Okay.
And then you click enable. Now everything you print should be, it should be showing up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, it all disappears whenever it wants to. And it resets itself and then this unchecks itself.
Have you noticed any time that it's reset itself?
No, I don't look at it every day.
So the question is that in the job history, if you enable job history, his job history is disappearing for no particular reason. When you print a job, it's supposed to stay in that job history, and you can't. It's not doing it after you shut down. It's just doing it whenever.
I can't tell if it's whether I shut down the program, shut down or the machine shuts down, because sometimes the machine turns off by itself, we try not to do it. Either way, like at some point, it just completely turns off and unchecks itself, so I have to create.
I haven't heard that yet, but today wouldn't be the first day that something happened I hadn't heard of. So I will make sure that we look into that as well.
Also, make sure to add a note that the job history has the amount of copies in it as well.
You were going to email that to me, so email that to me so I can pass it on to the devs. So that's that. The ball's in your court on that one right now. And if you send it to me, I'll make sure we get it there and we get it fixed if it's a problem. Do I have any other questions from anybody at all? Anyone? Zach? Any questions? All right. Well, if I don't have any questions, I just want to thank you guys very much for being such a great crowd. And if you need anything at all, reach out to Zach, and he knows how to get a hold of me. Or if you have something in particular, you can reach out, and I have my cards with me, and I'll be happy to help you out whenever you need it. Yes?
I do actually have one. When you are printing a bunch of the same image, what I noticed is when it tries to make 15 of one thing, for example, and there's 10 that only goes across, it will not do 10 across and 5, it will do 5, 5, 5, and then there's a whole bunch of blank space.
Oh, I see some nodding heads. Have you right-clicked in Auto Nest?
Yeah.
And it's still doing the same thing? And you can duplicate that?
I mean, I will,
Well, if I could duplicate it,
yeah, I mean, I have to look at my settings, but like, I'm pretty sure it's similar to the settings here, and it just simply refuses to use up all the page space. It will just try to make it even across the board. If I'm talking 15, it only does 10.
We're getting this case when we make an inside neck label.
Mhm.
We need 33 neck labels. It's not an even number for it to do, and it makes two columns that are the same. Then you would expect one more column that would only be a few pieces, and then you have this wasted space, or it reconfigures it to be all the same narrow columns, and then you have a big wasted area. It could be part of the nesting thing that you're talking about. We've been struggling trying to figure it out.
You can always,
I've
noticed that problem too. You can always manually
Manual is
push
probably
it
the
too
best thing.
onto the empty area.
Yeah, you can do it manually, or you can set it up for rotation too. So if you set it up for rotating, it'll rotate 90 degrees and it should try to fit it all together. It still won't do it? Interesting. If there's someone that can demonstrate that and show that to me, I would like to get that in the hands of our devs and make sure they fix that if it's a problem, for sure. Yeah. You can, yeah, if you can demonstrate it here before I leave, and I know how to do it, I could just show them. Okay, very good. Well, thank you guys again. Appreciate it. All right.